The summer of 1977 should have been a time of endless freedom and laughter for a 12-year-old like me, a season filled with bike rides, ice cream, and the simple joys of childhood. I remember the warmth of the sun on my face, the distant sound of lawnmowers, and the feeling that nothing truly bad could ever happen. But all of that changed in a single night, when something happened that I could never have expected. It was just an ordinary evening, but one night changed everything for me, leaving a mark that would linger long after I woke up. In my dream, I found myself standing in my own bedroom, the familiar space somehow sharper and more real than ever before. I watched through the window as my mother walked slowly up the path, her face streaked with tears, her shoulders slumped with a sadness I'd never seen. Even before she opened the door, I knew with a terrible certainty she was coming to tell us that my granddad had died. The knowledge hit me like a wave, heavy and cold. The dream was painfully vivid, every detail etched into my mind. The faded wallpaper, the way the sunlight filtered through the curtains, the suffocating weight of grief pressing down on my chest. I felt everything. The shock that made my heart race, the desperate denial as I tried to will it all away, and finally the crushing acceptance that left me gasping for air. It was as if I was living through the worst moment of my life, but trapped inside a world I couldn't escape. My family gathered in the living room, their faces drawn and etched with pain. Every word spoken, every silence that hung in the air burned itself into my memory. I could feel the sorrow radiating from them, and I wanted to reach out, to comfort them, but I was powerless. This wasn't a jumbled, nonsensical dream. It was a clear, linear tragedy that unfolded with a sense of inevitability. I lived through every moment, unable to change a thing. When I finally woke, the sorrow clung to me like a heavy blanket. My pillow was damp, my eyes puffy from tears I didn't remember shedding. For a long moment, I wasn't sure if it had been a dream at all. The line between reality and nightmare was so thin, I could barely tell which side I was on. The sense of loss was so real, so overwhelming, that I half expected to find my family mourning in the living room when I crept out of bed. Every shadow in the house seemed heavier, every silence deeper. This wasn't just a nightmare, it was an experience, a premonition I couldn't shake off, no matter how hard I tried to convince myself otherwise. I spent the morning in a daze, replaying every moment in my mind, searching for some sign that it was just my imagination. But the fear lingered, gnawing at me from the inside. I desperately hoped it was just my imagination, a trick of the mind, but deep down I feared it was something more, something I couldn't explain. The dream had a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it left me with a chilling sense of unease that wouldn't let go. I felt changed, as if I'd glimpsed a future I was powerless to stop. I had witnessed a future I didn't want to believe in, a reality that felt too close for comfort. And yet, deep inside, a part of me knew, with a cold, unshakable certainty, that what I had seen was more than just a dream. It was a warning, and I would never be the same again. Relief washed over me as I woke, the familiar comfort of my own bed grounding me in the present. For a moment, the world felt safe again, the weight of the nightmare lifting from my chest. Sunlight streamed into my room, painting golden patterns on the walls and floor, as if to reassure me that everything was as it should be. It was just a dream, I told myself. My granddad was fine, my family was fine, the world was normal. I could almost hear the echoes of laughter from the night before, the warmth of family still lingering in the air. I took a deep breath, trying to shake off the last shreds of fear, until I looked out the window, heart pounding, searching for proof that reality was still intact. There was my mother walking up the path, shoulders slumped, face wet with tears, exactly as in my dream. The world tilted and a cold dread crept into my bones. The line between dream and reality vanished. Panic set in. This couldn't be happening. My mind raced, desperate to find some explanation, but none came. I searched for logic, but there was none. Every rational thought slipped through my fingers, replaced by a rising tide of fear. My nightmare was unfolding step by step, each moment echoing the terror I'd felt while asleep. I was frozen, a silent spectator knowing what would come next. My body refused to move as if trapped by invisible chains. Every detail matched, her trembling hands clutching her bag, the way her fingers twisted nervously. Her walk, slow and heavy, her heartbreak etched into every step, every tear she wiped away. Time seemed to slow, each second stretching out as I waited for the inevitable. powerless to change the outcome. The dream had been a preview, now the main event was beginning, and I was forced to watch it play out. I knew she was coming to tell us my granddad had died. The certainty was suffocating, as if the air itself had thickened. The knowledge was a cold stone in my stomach, heavy and unmovable, pressing down with every breath. I was powerless to stop it. No matter how much I wished to change the ending, I was only a witness. The dream wasn't a warning, it was a prophecy, a script I was doomed to follow. And I was trapped inside it, unable to wake up, unable to escape the nightmare that had become my reality. As my mother delivered the news, her voice trembled, echoing through the room like a distant thunder. The weight of her words seemed to press down on everyone, filling the air with a heaviness I could almost touch. The dream replayed in real life, every detail matching, as if the universe itself was following a script only I had read. Faces twisted in disbelief, tears welled up, and the room became a stage for a tragedy I had already witnessed in my sleep. I tried to tell my family, I saw this. I dreamed this last night. My words tumbled out, desperate and urgent, hoping someone would see the truth in my eyes. My words were lost in their grief, dismissed as a child's confusion. No one paused to listen, their sorrow too deep to allow for impossible explanations. I tried to predict what would happen next, but my voice was drowned out by reality. The adults were consumed by their pain, unable to hear the warnings of a child. It was maddening. I held the script, but no one would listen. I felt invisible, powerless, as if I were shouting into a void that swallowed every word. My family needed to grieve, not hear my impossible story. Their pain was raw, and my revelation only seemed to deepen the divide between us. I fell silent, realizing my knowledge was a burden I couldn't share. The truth became a weight pressing on my chest, making it hard to breathe. I watched, isolated as the scene unfolded exactly as I'd foreseen. Each moment confirmed my vision, yet I felt more alone with every passing second. I was with them, but apart, trapped in a bubble of foreknowledge. The distance between us grew, not in space, but in understanding. The experience left me with a lasting truth. Sometimes the veil between what is and what will be is terrifyingly thin. It's a fragile boundary, easily crossed in dreams or moments of intuition. I had seen the future and nobody believed me. Their disbelief stung, making me question my own reality. The world was not as simple as it seemed. Beneath the surface, mysteries lingered, and I realized that not everything could be explained away. I learned that certainty is an illusion. Even the things we think we know can shift in an instant, leaving us unmoored. My premonition became a secret I carried alone. It was a silent companion, shaping how I saw the world and those around me. And it changed me forever. I learned that sometimes knowing the truth is lonelier than ignorance, and that some burdens are meant to be carried in silence. People called it déjà vu, but what I experienced was far more. Déjà vu is a fleeting sense of familiarity, a passive echo. My experience was active. I knew what would happen, second by second. I could have narrated every action and word before they occurred. It wasn't just a feeling, it was detailed, predictive knowledge. Scientists say déjà vu is a brain hiccup, a memory glitch. But a glitch doesn't write a script for the future. My premonition was precise. My mother's tears, her words, the sequence of grief. This wasn't vague familiarity, it was a direct look into the immediate future. The difference is monumental. To call it déjà vu is to miss the point entirely. Our scientific vocabulary struggles to explain it. Maybe our understanding of time and reality is incomplete, and maybe sometimes we glimpse more than we're meant to see. My experience led me to others with similar stories. Detailed, predictive dreams that came true. Janet Tucker's account stands out. She dreamt of her mother being pulled through a vehicle window by paramedics, every detail vivid and bizarre. The next day, after a crash, paramedics had to extract her mother through the camper van window, just as in her dream. Janet watched, horrified as her nightmare became reality. Her vision wasn't vague, it was specific and involuntary. These aren't tales of wishful thinking. They're consistent, extraordinary accounts from ordinary people. They suggest the flow of time isn't as straightforward as we believe. I've heard hundreds of such stories. Each one echoes my own, reinforcing the mystery. These experiences are real for those who live them. They challenge our understanding of what's possible, and they hint at a deeper, stranger reality beneath the surface. Most people who experience premonitions keep silent, fearing ridicule or being labeled crazy. Our society values rationality, dismissing anything outside its boundaries. Admitting you've seen the future risks judgment and stigma. So people bury their stories, questioning their own sanity. This silence is a loss. It hides the true scale of these phenomena. If hundreds have shared with me, how many millions stay silent? Without open discussion, these experiences remain isolated and easily dismissed. Scientists avoid the topic, fearing for their reputations. This cycle of silence and skepticism stifles real inquiry. We need a culture where people can share without fear. Only then can we begin to explore this profound mystery. The first step is simply listening. Science often explains premonitions as déjà vu or cryptomnesia, unconscious memories resurfacing. These theories are comforting. They keep reality predictable. Skeptics say I unconsciously sensed my granddad's decline, weaving it into a dream. Coincidence and memory errors are the standard explanations, but these don't account for the specificity of many experiences. Janet's dream of a campervan rescue wasn't a common scenario. My dream's details couldn't be retrofitted after the fact. Dismissing thousands of consistent reports isn't scientific, it's dogmatic. These stories are data, even if subjective. Maybe the real trick is in our limited understanding of consciousness. Modern physics, especially quantum theory, challenges our ideas about time. Retrocausality suggests future events can influence the past. Experiments show particles can be affected by future measurements. What if intense future events send ripples backward in time? Dreams might be when our minds pick up these signals. My dream, Janet's nightmare. Maybe our brains decoded a ripple from the future. Mainstream science says quantum effects don't scale up to the brain, but to say it's impossible is to ignore what physics is discovering. This theory moves premonitions from the paranormal to the not yet understood. Maybe these glimpses are a rare consequence of the universe's strange laws. My childhood experience shattered my certainty about reality. It taught me that the universe is full of mysteries we barely understand. Science has given us much, but some experiences don't fit its boxes. True progress comes from confronting anomalies, not ignoring them. My goal isn't to provide answers, but to encourage curiosity. When we hear a story that challenges our beliefs, we should ask, what if this is true? These experiences invite us to be humble and open-minded. The universe isn't obligated to make sense to us. Maybe it's time we stop demanding it does. Let's listen to the strange stories it tells. The truth is likely